All right, man, peace. So Game 7 between the Indiana Pacers and the Cleveland Cavaliers is over. The Cleveland Cavaliers were victorious, as I figured they would be, due to a combination of LeBron James's excellence, as well as the assistance of the officials. But there was no way in the world that the NBA was going to allow the Indiana Pacers to defeat the Cleveland Cavaliers in Cleveland unless Indiana was able to bring their A-plus effort, and they did not. They started out the game extremely tight and nervous. Victor Oladipo was able to step it up later on in the game. His future is very bright as long as he stays healthy, Lord willing. It was a valiant effort, but they were clearly very tight. Their inexperience showed in many crucial points in the game, not only on the floor, but also with their coach, Nate McMillan, who for some reason seemed to think that there was a game number 8 if they lost Game 7, because he kept Victor Oladipo on the sideline for way too long. All throughout the latter part of the third into the early part of the fourth quarter, he had Oladipo on the bench for some strange reason. I have no idea why. Nate McMillan, bro, there's no game number 8, man. But anyway, as you can see, Victor Oladipo is there preparing to receive his questions in the post-game press conference. They're going to talk about it. I'm going to chime in.
How gratifying, satisfying is it to you personally, the way you've emerged this year, 3 teams, 3 years, and your own performance? Surely it feels terrible and tastes terrible to end the season with a loss, but just that you're sitting up there by yourself right now, the leader of this team, and the way you led it, the way you played this series.
Before he answers, let me say this. Victor Oladipo should be very proud of himself, because prior to this season, I had looked at him as a bust. He was drafted very high in the first round, I believe 4 or 5 years ago, and he had not lived up to his potential. He had not lived up to the prognostications for what he would bring into the NBA. Once again, prior to draft night, he was viewed as another Dwayne Wade. And this season is the first season where he played anywhere near approximating a younger Dwayne Wade. So good for him. It's good to see people who have been gifted finally decide that they're going to optimize their gifts.
First off, I just want to thank God for the ability to play this game.
Good for you, bro.
Thank God for all the blessings He's given me, and just thank God for this year.
Good for you, brother. Every morning you should thank God for waking you up.
It's been a blessing. I'm alive and I'm playing the game I love.
That's right, bro.
I love. Unfortunately, it ended a little sour, but I wouldn't trade this year for anybody or the men in that locker room for anyone. It's been a phenomenal year. I left it all out there. We left it all out there.
I agree. You guys did leave it all out there. The only thing that you have to leave in the future is a higher level of basketball IQ, but that comes with experience. What I don't like is their coach and many of the decisions that he made. Nate McMillan has been around professional basketball for 30 years. Some of the moves that he decided to execute in very crucial moments cost him this series, definitely cost him this game. Victor Oladipo has to get at least 46 minutes in this game. You cannot have him on the bench all throughout the early part of the fourth quarter. That is when Cleveland stretched their lead out.
It's one of the best locker rooms, not the best locker room I've ever been a part of. So it was an honor to play alongside those gentlemen. And I look forward to growing with them in the future.
You also seem to share a moment with LeBron at the end. What was said there, if you can share it, and then your thoughts of LeBron, 45, 9-7, 345 or so point games this series.
Why these guys always asking the man what another man told him? Mind your damn business. If it was meant for you to know, they would have said it together in front of a microphone.
You gotta ask him what he said.
Right. What's up with these guys and all these damn chatty patties and all these motherfuckers always want to get in everybody's business.
I ain't say it, he said it. And I mean, amazing. I mean, he did what he always does. It's not really shocking. He's the best in the world. That's what the best does.
Yes, LeBron James is the best basketball player in the world. And many people try to go back and forth about that because they have a personal issue with the brother. He is the best basketball player in the world. And to me, it's discernible. I think that he's discernibly the best basketball player in the world, if you want to call a paper-thin sliver discernible. Certain people might think of that as being a contradiction, but I don't. I think that is very, very close, but it's discernible that LeBron is better than Kevin Durant. There's just certain things that LeBron brings to the table that Kevin Durant cannot bring, that Kevin's not comfortable bringing right now. And we don't really know what Kawhi's going to look like when he comes back. In regards to Steph needs his own team to fully show what he can do, because he's the type of player that people will forget how great he is when he's no longer in the alpha position. If Durant were to leave Golden State and Steph were to get the reins back on that team, he could easily average 32, 33 points a game. No doubt in my mind.
It does. Now I got to work so I can get on that level.
Kenny wrote it to BHBC Radio. You guys had 2 blowout wins. Cavaliers 4 wins. They all count the same, but very close. Could have gone either way. What was the difference in those 4 close games that you guys came up short in?
The difference was experience, as well as the proficiency of Mr. Victor Oladipo. Nothing against his brother right here, but a couple of the games that they lost, he shot horribly. And a team as inexperienced as Indiana is cannot afford to have their alpha go 7 for 35 over the course of 2 games. You just can't have that, and that's what he shot from Game 4 to Game 5. Game 6, he was spectacular. He even yoked it over LeBron. Game 7, started off slow, but he ended the game playing at a very high level. But look, it's all part of the process. It's okay. I knew that they were not going to beat the Cleveland Cavaliers. They were going to have to come with the best effort that they had brought forth for the entire series to have a chance to win Game 7 in Cleveland, and hope that LeBron James was off. He wasn't off, and they did not bring forth an A-plus effort, and the game was still close. So to me, this is truly going to be a referendum on Toronto, because if Toronto cannot beat this Cleveland Cavalier team, you might as well break them up.
I think in some of the close games, we didn't make some shots we normally made. And bounces here, bounces there. And LeBron hits a fadeaway 3 one of the games. It's tough, They were all close, and we just came up short. But overall, like I said, it was a great year. We learned a lot from this series about ourselves. I learned a lot about myself.
You guys need a better coach, though.
And just got to
12 rebounds. He had 13 rebounds in the last game. He was going ham.
Just got to continue to keep getting better so we could better ourselves for years to come.
And I don't think that he was boxing out his own teammates like my boy Westbrook was either. I'm just playing.
Were you guys at all caught off guard with Tristan being inserted into the starting lineup today for the first time in this series?
Yeah, it was obviously new for us, but I think in the second half we did a better job of making the adjustment, and credit them, credit him. He played a great game, came in and was effective, and we just came up short. So it's unfortunate, but give them credit, they played well.
Yeah, shout out to Tristan Thompson. He was spectacular, and he was the difference in this Game 7, as oftentimes is the case when 2 playoff teams match up for a Game 7. It's not necessarily the star that you have to watch out for. You expect them to bring their A game, but it's oftentimes someone coming off the bench or in a surprise performance who wins a Game 7, whether it's a Ron Artest, when he won that Game 7 for Kobe Bryant in 2010. Back in 1998, Tony Kukoc, for those of you who remember, was spectacular in Game 7 against the Indiana Pacers in the Eastern Conference Finals. And this game, it happened to be Mr. Tristan Thompson, who I guess got a day pass from his MK handler, Khloe Kardashian. I guess she spread her butt cheeks and said, "Okay, Tristan, you can come out and play."
How motivated are you to get back in the gym, like right now? Or
well, how motivated are you to get back in the gym? You probably got high blood pressure. Damn fat bastard.
Or do you want to take some time and just let it marinate a little bit?
I don't know how to take time off, so.
Good for you, bro.
I had somebody tell me, take a break and enjoy your life. I say, this is my life.
Hey, well, that's what people say when they're doing what they love. That's why I told you brothers in the Russell Westbrook video. If you're waking up every morning and you're not motivated to go where you're supposed to go, you need to leave that place. If you don't like your job, you need to start strategizing on what you want to do with your life, why you want to do it, and you need to remove yourself. Don't think that you're stuck anywhere in life. There's always a way out. There's always a way upward. There's a reason why you have people like Victor Oladipo and Russell Westbrook and LeBron James continuously saying the things that they say because they love what they do. Love what you do and do what you love. It'll trickle over into other aspects of your life. You'll start setting higher standards for yourself in your profession, and it will trickle over into the other aspects of your life. Watch how quickly you stop tolerating bullshit from the people within your life who are bringing negative energy, whether it's your woman, whether it's so-called friends, whether it's so-called family members. And you'll either make them raise their level of conduct and humanity, or they'll have to be removed. Standards are everything.
So,
Dave McBenamin, ESPN. Victor, I know it's just the immediate aftermath of the year you've been through, but can you put into words what it was like to elevate your career from where you were in Orlando and Oklahoma City to this year, from the All-Star game to pushing the Cavs to the brink, and what do you see in the future for yourself in the NBA?
It was a great year, but honestly, I feel like I haven't even scratched the surface of how good I really can be.
I agree, brother. As long as you believe it, you can achieve it. As long as you have that attitude, you can only move upward. So good for you.
That's just me being honest, and I feel like I got a lot of work to do, and I got a lot of room to improve and things that I need to get better at. And
we all do.
I'm going to watch film and go over the games over the course of a year and see what I can improve at. And this summer I'm going to go to work so I can come back even better than this year.
Now listen to what this brother stated. He didn't say, well, our team wasn't good enough in that area or this area. He didn't point the finger at anyone else. The only thing that he's done is take time to reflect on his own performance. When we all do that, that's how the trajectory only aims upward. Upward. So Indiana's very fortunate that he's one of the leaders of their team.
Victor, can you talk about, when you look back at the season overall, the trust level that you built amongst your teammates, and try to put into words how that kind of defined this team this season?
I think it's the reason why we went so far and why we're here today. We haven't even been together for a year. Some of us have played together, but majority of us as a whole, this is our first year playing together. And the only reason why we were successful is because we trust each other and because of the characteristics of the gentleman in the locker room. And it's been phenomenal. It was phenomenal. And we just got to build on that to better our future.
Yes, you guys do need another season of growth. What you also need is a shooting guard, because Darren Collison, that's a backup point guard right there. He should not be starting for you guys. You guys need another shooting guard, preferably a combo guard that can be paired up with you, where your point per game average may have to come down to about 21 a game. That other player can also average about 20, 21 a game, and you guys move the ball a little bit more and you'll be much better. Because Darren Collison is not going to be a starter on a championship level team in the NBA, but he can be a backup point guard on a championship level team.
Hey, Charlie Clifford, Wish TV. You said at the beginning of the year this is the first time you felt like the team actually believed in you. How much of that really impacted what ultimately became of this season? Well,
let me say this. If Victor actually stated that, maybe that was some type of a compensation thought process that he had, due to the fact that inwardly he's known that he's never pushed himself to his limits, because this season is actually the first time that he's shown that he truly believed in himself enough to invest in his physical conditioning, as he himself has admitted. So for him to say that Indiana's the first team that has ever believed in him, maybe he has to tell himself that so that he does not have to fully acknowledge the fact that he has shitted away his first 3 or 4 seasons in the NBA. Not eating right, not conditioning himself properly, and taking his own athletic gifts for granted.
I think it had a huge impact. I truly believe not only that my teammates and my coaches believe in me, but Indiana believed in me. And the organization believed in me. Kevin Pritchard, Chad Buchanan, the owners, they believed in me, and they believed in my game. And when you have that confidence and the confidence that I have, and you have the people who believe in you on the sidelines and in the locker rooms, it makes it that much easier to just give it your all and play with confidence. So I'm just going to continue to keep getting better so I can take my game to another level.
Good for you, brother.
Spencer Davies, Basketball Insiders. Vic, what's the next step for this team to go into the summer? And you're talking about how you guys trust each other and stuff like that, but on the floor, what do you think the next step is?
The next step is that they all have to become comfortable with the notion that they are indeed a contender in the Eastern Conference, not just to make the playoffs, but to advance in the playoffs. I don't think that they came into this season with high enough expectations. They surprised themselves, and by the time they got to the playoffs, they looked at the playoffs as frosting and not the cake itself. They were just happy to be there. Next season, they have to have high expectations. When you have high expectations, that pushes you to have to meet those expectations.
Improvement. I think we all can better our games. I think we all can better our games, and I think we all need to just self-evaluate ourselves and see what we need to improve at and get better at. And
I agree.
Better at, and I think we need to go out and attack this summer and build off this loss. I don't like this feeling. I don't think they like it either. And in order to make sure we don't have this feeling again, we got to put in the work. So that's what we need to do.
And Coach McMillan said that you guys played for the name on the front of the jersey, not the one on the back. How much easier does it make it to build off of that, the fact that, just going back to that trust thing, that you guys are all buying in?
It's huge. At the end of the day, nobody thought we were going to be here.
Yeah, including you.
If I told you we were going to be here in October, y'all would have looked at me like I was crazy.
So are most of your teammates.
But we believe in each other and we trust each other. That's the only reason why we're sitting up here talking right now. So.
Well, I believe that to a degree, brother, but let's be for real. There's no way in the world that your teammates thought, especially after trading Paul George for you, because no one thought that you were going to be commensurate for Paul George, especially after last season, the Pacers got swept by the Cleveland Cavaliers. You guys were fortunate enough to take them to 7 games and really should have beat them. But you didn't quite know what to do in those crucial moments.
We got to improve on that, so I don't got to have this discussion with y'all again.
Victor, Eli Mooney of Metro Networks. Coach McMillan said you guys, win or lose, had a chance to create a moment tonight. Do you feel you created a moment, even in the loss?
I think that they've created a moment to reflect back on and learn from. It's not going to be something where 40 years from now, when they're all old, they're going to say, hey, remember when we lost that series in 7 to Cleveland? Yeah, let's drink to that.
Yeah, I think we did. If y'all don't respect the Indiana Pacers now, I have no respect for you.
Well, brother, I guess you got no respect for me because I don't respect losers. You guys got to come back and win. That's how you get respect. As a team, I don't have any respect for you. As a man, due to the things that you have stated in this press conference and a lot of the conclusions that you've come to, I have respect for you as a man. But as a team, no, not yet. You guys have to at least win the first round matchup for me to respect you.
And that's just how I feel. Nobody thought we were going to be here. No one. Not one person. But us in the locker room. And I feel like we've earned our respect from everyone.
No, not yet, bro.
From everyone. Now, if you don't respect us, then that's fine. That's your opinion. But I believe we've earned it. So I think that's the moment we have created.
I can't agree with you there, bro. The reason why I can't agree with you is because the only way that you get respect in a competitive field is by winning. You must win.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, brother, and good luck to you next season. Okay, so now we're going to hear from Mr. LeBron James. He's going to give his perspective on what occurred in the game.
You get this one, but can you take us through what happened there when you went back to the locker room?
Yeah, when he went back to the locker room, they had about 5 syringes ready to be stuck in his ass so that he had a little boost for the fourth quarter. Allegedly.
Just had a little minor injury that we had to take care of. You ready for the fourth quarter?
Well, as per the report, you will once again suffer from cramps, King James. All right, so we know that when the going gets tough and the moments get crucial, you tend to cramp up. You tend to tense up. That is another reason why, no, you're not as clutch as Mr. Michael Jordan.
Looking back on it, I think you sat maybe 6 minutes of game time and whatever in timeouts.
I don't know if you brothers can see the emblem on his chain, on his necklace. That was an emblem that was used during the medieval time period, particularly by many of the royal houses of Europe. Oftentimes they would have the lion depicted in various poses. That was known as the lion rampant, R-A-M-P-A-N-T. It was a lion on its hind legs, especially the ruling houses of England. It was brought over to England by William the Conqueror after he was able to defeat, I believe, King Harold in 1066 AD at the Battle of Hastings. This was known as heraldry. Most of the royal houses would always depict their family by a certain heraldic animal, normally a lion. Why is that? Because the ruling families of medieval Europe were the descendants of the House of Judah that had been dispersed into Europe after the Babylonian and Persian captivity, and also later on after the destruction of Jerusalem in 135 AD, the final destruction. There was a destruction in 70 AD that was presided over by General Titus and Vespasian. And then in 135 AD, there was a revolt called the Bar Kokhba revolt, which was the final revolt. But for the most part, the ruling families of Europe, who became known as the Germanic tribes in Northern Europe, utilized the heraldic lion to show their ancestry back to the royal houses of Judah and Benjamin from the Babylonian captivity. Because most of the Jews that fled Jerusalem after 135 AD, they maintained their overall culture. But I just found it very interesting that the brother here wore the lion rampant, because he does know that it is symbolic of the ruling families of England, i.e. King James.
Timeouts, and how much did that help you be able to close the game the way that you did?
I mean, obviously throughout the series and especially today, any little rest I was able to get, benefited me and, ultimately benefited our team.
David McMenamin, ESPN. LeBron, from early February through the end of the season, you almost averaged a triple-double. You were playing at a very high level. It seemed to many of us watching these 7 games, you took it even to another level. How do you assess your play to help the Cavs be in the second round?
As usual, his play was stellar. I mean, there's not much that you can say about the brother's performances in this series. I mean, he had one bad game, which was Game 6, and that was really because he got cut over the eye, and that kind of discombobulated him for the rest of the game. Indiana went on a run, and he never came back into the game. As you can see, he scored 45 points, 16 and 25 from the field. I mean, he was stellar. There's not much that you could say about LeBron when he's in his bag.
I just try to do whatever it takes to help us win. And I felt like I just wanted to do that again in this series. Just try to make plays offensively and defensively. Continue to trust my guys and trust myself and trust, how much work I put into my game. So, definitely it's good to be able to make plays and help yourself advance. And, kudos and a big shout out to the Indiana Pacers, first of all. They were tough team. They have.
Yes, they were tough, but they were not smart enough to beat you guys because they were overall the better team. They just did not execute when the going got tough. They couldn't, because it was almost like that point where you're in the ring, you're fighting Mike Tyson. It's round 12. Through 11 rounds, the fight is close. And you're like, wow, I have a chance to beat Mike Tyson, and then you fold up. That's pretty much what happened to Indiana.
Obviously, the head of the snake and Vic, unbelievable jump from last year to this year. We all saw it, and he proved it. Why he's a franchise caliber player, and everybody on down, man. They just got a well-rounded team, and they definitely.
Except for Lance, you hate Lance with a passion, brother.
They definitely pushed us.
Lance is the only player in the NBA that deserves an Oscar more than you.
I pushed us to the brink, basically.
Jason with The Athletic. It looked like you were checking in when you got back to the bench. Did Kevin hitting that three give you a couple more minutes?
Yep.
And you just said they pushed you to the brink, and I know every playoff series is hard, obviously. And there were a lot of sweeps here the last couple of years that may not have been sweeps if a shot went here or there in the first round. But was this harder than any first round series that you've been a part of in recent past?
It has to have been the hardest first round matchup that he's ever played in. I mean, the series won 7. Now, I believe that one of those early Washington Wizards series in the mid-2000s might have went to brink. It might have went to 5 games or something like that. But this was certainly the most competitive first round matchup that LeBron has ever participated in. No doubt about it.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, it was a challenging series because it's just now, and I can't even start thinking about previous series and say if this was harder than the other or the next. But this was a tough series, and like I said, Indiana was they played as well as anybody's played us all year, and they just got a really good team.
Tom Withers, Associated Press. Bron, what did it mean to have the 4 holdovers from the 3 finals teams out there starting together? And then could you just talk about what both Tristan and George did for you guys today?
Well, we started the game with a unit.
Tristan and George gave him a lift, especially Tristan. Like I stated, it seems as if Khloe Kardashian decided to finally spread her ass cheeks and let him come out to play. Man came out on the court smelling like booty hole. But he gave a great performance. He finally let go of that osculum infame, the worship of the butthole. For those of you who have not seen my video on it, please look it up. It's on my channel. It's known as osculum infame. But Tristan Kardashian, he's not going to be in the NBA much longer. He's finished. He's already gave his spirit over to that witch coven.
A unit that we knew, all 5 of us, we knew we could get out of each other. We've been in situations before. We've played in big games before, so that's a comfort to start the game. And then with G Hill, coming in that third quarter, he gives us another ball handler, another facilitator that can make.
George Hill played well, but that man moves around like he's 55 years old. It's like, damn.
That can make plays for not only himself but for others, and for him to get to, he got 11 free throws in the second half. He was being aggressive. We needed every bit of it. So, I said it post game on the court. I said it's not very often where you're able to split the game ball in half, but G Hill and Double T did that tonight.
And could you just talk about Kyle's pass to you with?
Now, once again, look at that emblem that's on LeBron's chain. That once again is known as the lion rampant. That's spelled R-A-M-P-A-N-T. They would oftentimes depict the lion as a heraldic emblem in the ruling houses of Europe. Why is that? Because they were known before they rose into power in the medieval time period. Prior to that, they were known as the Germanic tribes. And the Germanic tribes first migrated into Europe after the Babylonian Empire fell to the Medeo-Persian forces. Once that was accomplished, many of the former captives of the Medeo-Persians, they were allowed to leave that region. They migrated up northward and then westward, where they became known as the Germanic tribes. And yes, they were the people known in the Bible as Israelites. That's why they maintained that emblem, because the rampant lion was the chosen emblem of the house of Judah, which was comprised of the tribes of Judah, Benjamin, and Levi.
Pass to you with 30 seconds to go. Ty Lue said he was scared before it was thrown.
Well, he trusted me that I'd catch it. And there was some traffic. He didn't have to make that pass, but he trusted I'd catch it. And Bogdanovich was overplaying me. I went back doors, one of the simple plays in the game, a give and go. And Kyle was able to make the pass, and I was able to get the lay in.
Chris Fedor, Cleveland.com. LeBron, this kind of series against Indiana, where do you think it can benefit this group the most moving forward?
I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's kind of a silly question. That's just an experience that they've gone through. It was their first playoff series as a team. They can only go upward, fortunately for them, because they were able to win Game 7, so they can put this experience behind them. Now they know if they get into a situation that is adverse, they can call upon this game. For LeBron, it doesn't matter to him. He's pretty much seen it all. Who it will resonate with are players like Rodney Hood and Jordan Clarkson and so on and so forth. Players like that, Larry Nance Jr., who've never been in this type of a fire before. But LeBron doesn't care about this shit.
It's a great series, and we had some ups, we had some downs. But I don't know, we move on to the next series. It's a good test for us, especially for this ball club.
Now, did you hear what he said? He said, especially for this ball club. That's his way of saying, these guys have never been here before. I'm going to ride this out after this season. I'm out of here.
Steve Ashburn.com. When trusting your guys gets so rewarded, as it was earlier with Tristan and some other guys, and then during that stretch when you sat, what does that mean for you, and what does it mean for them to be able to step up and sort of lighten your load a little bit?
Well, I mean, listen, we're a team. I mean, it's not one individual.
For now.
Not one individual, we're a team, and all of us expect so much out of each other, and no matter who's out on the floor, we expect guys to make plays, and that's what happened tonight or today.
Marla Wright, New York, Akron Beacon Journal. How physically taxing was this whole series, and maybe today?
I mean, these reporters, they ask such dumb questions. How physically taxing was it? Well, bitch, you saw him on the sideline sweating, didn't you? So obviously he was exerting himself. I mean, she's acting like he was running through an obstacle course. It's a basketball game. It's the same amount of exertion as all the other games in the season. Yes, there was obviously more mental stress, which is why he had to go to the locker room to get them shots, allegedly. But it's the same court, still 94 feet. Hoop is still 10 feet high.
It was a good test. That's what you train for all year. You train all year to be able to put.
Yeah, with your U.S. Navy SEAL biochemist.
Be able to put yourself in a position where, however the series is, or however a playoff series is, then your body can respond. So, I wouldn't expect anything less.
While you were back there in the locker room, nobody suggested, do you need an IV or anything?
Yeah.
Did you turn them down?
Yeah.
Now, did you see how paranoid LeBron's face got when she asked him about an IV? He's like, where's this bitch going with this? You know where the hell she's going.
Tom Reed, The Athletic. LeBron, could you just expand a little bit on Tristan's performances, particularly early in the game, that helped get you guys off to the good start?
I mean, that's the Tristan that we know.
Now, what does LeBron mean by that? That's the Tristan that we know. In other words, he hasn't been the same guy for a while. As we all know, LeBron made a video around the time when Tristan Kardashian first decided that he was going to allow the Kardashian witch coven to take over his life. Tristan had a camera crew from the Kardashian reality show come to the Cleveland Cavaliers preseason workout camp, and LeBron James was videotaping the Kardashian camera crew, and he was saying, "Here comes the shit show." So it's very obvious that LeBron did not approve of Tristan Kardashian's choice of women, and justifiably so.
Giving us extra possessions, catching the ball on rolls, finishing. Just his energy, his effort. That's how he's made his name in his league, by just being high motor and being able to outwork who's ever across from him. So.
And what did you or he say during the stretch when he wasn't getting a lot? How was his attitude, and how did you try to help him along during a kind of a tough stretch for him?
Well, he stayed ready.
And basically you told him, nigga, look, I got you this last contract. I can't help you out again because you're the one who decided to fuck up your own career. Now you can either help me out because you know we're going to be on center stage at the end of the season, or you could totally detonate your own career. It's up to you.
They be playing 5-on-5 games, sometimes 4-on-4 for the guys that don't play a lot or that's out of the rotation. And Double T has been a part of that the last couple of weeks because he's been out of the rotation. So he's keeping his body right, going out and playing. With some of our assistant coaches, and some of our players that have been out of the rotation, just keeping his mind sharp and ready for whenever his number is called. And he's a veteran now. It's his 7th year. He's a vet, and today was an example of professionalism, being able to, whenever your number is called, being able to go out and still produce. And like I said, he took the challenge, and he definitely thrived in that today.
You can see Bron is ready to pack it up and head back. He said, "Come on, can we wrap this up? I got a pill and a syringe with my name on it in the back. I got to go." Allegedly.
Scott Sargent, WFNY. Your exit late third and early fourth was pretty much unplanned, and the 5-man that Ty went with was, I think, 3 of 19 shooting before that. What can you say about what that group was able to do during that stretch? And I know you're not a big momentum guy, but is that something they can build off of going forward to the next series?
It was a huge stretch. It was a 2-point game to start the fourth quarter, and those guys went on a run.
Well, that was more about Nate McMillan and his poor coaching decision to leave Oladipo on the bench for that long than it was the poor play of the Indiana Pacers or the proficient play of the Cleveland Cavaliers. Nate McMillan did a terrible job there.
And, Kev, hit some big shots. He had to pull up off G. Hill's pass, and Jeff Green had got the post up, was able to drive middle and hit Kev on the right wing for another 3. Even with Jordan was able to get into the lane, missed the left-hand layup, but he was attacking and just putting pressure on their defense, and we was able to get stops too. That helped. That helped out a lot. And, it was just big for not only myself to be able to get a couple more minutes of rest, but for the guys that was out on the floor as well.
Not to look too far ahead, but how does what you saw from Indiana, especially their bigs, translate to what you're going to see next round?
I don't know.
It's not going to translate at all. Toronto's going to be a totally different animal. The only question for Toronto is, are they mentally ready to finally climb over that stumbling block, over that hurdle known as LeBron James, because LeBron has a mental hold over their team. They definitely have the better team on paper, but are they ready? That's all it's about.
I'm burnt right now. I'm not thinking about Toronto right now until tomorrow. I'm ready to go home. I'm tired. I want to go home. So,
Mike Wilbon, ESPN. LeBron, you spoke so affectionately about Game 7s, and you have in the past as well. Did this, I know you haven't had much time to reflect, but did this feel different to you from the other, 5 or 6 you were in?
Nah, it felt like a Game 7. It was like, your mind is thinking like, okay, besides the 2 I've played in the finals, but you start thinking like, is this it? Could this be it? That's just human nature. And then the other side of my brain was like, let's go make something happen. Let's go. This is what you're here for. You're here to make plays.
That's basically him acknowledging that you can plant doubts in his head.
You're the leader, and obviously I don't know if I'm going to shoot the ball well, but I know I'm going to be efficient. I know I'm going to have my mind into it, besides when I allowed DC to just drive down the lane, I wasn't even paying attention.
Now listen to what he stated. He said he doesn't know if he'll shoot the ball well, but he knows he'll be efficient. What does that mean? That means that if his first 3 jump shots don't go in, he's just going to start passing the ball to make sure that his shooting numbers don't look too bad. Then he'll start driving the ball to the basket, try to get some easy layups, so on and so forth, but you can make him gun shy.
In the third quarter, but other than that, I was just trying to be sharp. I know I could be sharp, and I know that I'm not going to leave a Game 7 as like, I wish I would have did this, or I wish I would have did that. I'll be able to leave, the game, and sleep comfortably, because I'm going to leave everything on the floor. So
I agree with that. And LeBron does get a hard time from the NBA masses at large in regards to his quote-unquote shortcomings and clutch moments. But when you look at his history in Game 7s, he always comes up big in regards to his personal performance. Now, it may not galvanize his team, but he always plays well in Game 7. I'll give him credit for that.
That was just my mindset.
Thank you, Mr. LeBron James. On to round 2. But anyway, peace. All right, man, peace. So I just wanted to do a very quick epilogue in regards to certain statements that I made pertaining to the emblem on LeBron James's chain in the aftermath of the Cleveland Cavaliers and their Game 7 victory over the Indiana Pacers. I made some statements about the lion rampant, which is the emblem that LeBron James is wearing, an obvious allusion to the royal house of Stuart, or King James, who ruled over Britain in the early 1600s AD. LeBron James probably does not know this, but it's a very good possibility that he may descend from that line. Who knows? Point being is this. I just wanted to touch on this topic very quickly because I made a few statements in the video that I just wanted to expound on a little bit. Not too much in depth. I'll save that for another video. But the lion was the official heraldic symbol of the nation of Israel, particularly the southern kingdom of Judah, especially the houses of Judah and Benjamin. And as I stated in the video, in the aftermath of the Babylonian captivity, which fell after they were conquered by the Medo-Persian, what was soon to become the Medo-Persian Empire. And the Jews, they were allowed to leave under the orders of Cyrus the Great. Some of the royal houses migrated back to Israel, to Jerusalem, and rebuilt the land. Others of them remained within the domicile of the Persian Empire. Many of them, after the fall of the Persians to the Macedonians, migrated upward and then slowly westward, where they became known as the Germanic tribes and eventually took over all of Europe. As I've told you, brothers, incessantly on this channel, the ruling houses, the nobility, quote unquote, of Europe during the Middle Ages, they were so-called black people, believe it or not. But that's another topic for another day, another topic for another video. And as I've already stated, it's much more in depth. But the lion is oftentimes used in heraldry throughout medieval Europe because, once again, they were the descendants of the scattered people of the Babylonian captivity, those of them that migrated up northward. And even when you look up information on the lion, and it oftentimes is depicted in various poses, which all mean different things, they'll tell you that it descended from the nation of Israel, particularly Jerusalem. But I just wanted to expound on that a little bit because sometimes spiritually we're drawn to certain symbols that harken back to a previous age. And LeBron James happened to be wearing the lion rampant from the House of Stuart. King James also wore that lion, as did many of the members of the Royal House of England, Wales, Scotland, Spain, etc. It's very obvious that LeBron James views himself as a king, as he should, because however you view yourself is how you're going to conduct your life, hopefully. Whatever name or term you call yourself will be applicable. So the so-called black man should view himself as a king and conduct himself accordingly to the best of his ability. But yes, the lion rampant, that is a symbol that harkens back to the tribes of Israel, particularly the house of Judah, which is comprised of the tribes of Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, and the various families that were associated with the nobility of the southern kingdom, who were allowed to leave the Persian Empire, some of whom came back into the land of Israel, as can be read in the books of Ezra and Nehemiah, and built back up the land. Others of them stayed behind. Some of them even stayed in that region and became known as the Parthian Empire. Others migrated upward, as I stated already, upward and westward, where they became known eventually as the Germanic tribes after they melded with many of the indigenous Japhetic tribes that were there. And of course, they were the ruling houses of those lands after a while. When I say they, I'm talking about the scattered Jews of the Babylonian and then the Persian captivities. And then they became known in the Middle Ages as the ruling houses of Europe. That is why, whenever you read up on the subject, and I mentioned this already, the Vikings were the people who really popularized the use of the lion as the heraldic symbol, especially after William the Conqueror was able to defeat King Harold in 1066 AD. That's where you see the lion start to be used more and more with more and more frequency, even amongst the Franks under Charlemagne, so on and so forth. But once again, that's a topic that I'll be delving into later on this year when I get the opportunity. But anyway, peace.